Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Blood Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
I'm Office Blood Aidan.
Here we are, all three of us. If Patreon's your thing, check out the link in the description below. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Starts at just $3 a month. Get full watch-alongs to things like Seinfeld, Modern Family, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Welcome to Wrexham, F is for Family. Oh, we've got sports stuff on there. We do a lot of sports reactions on there
Robbie
as well.
Williams.
Doing the NHL and the NBA playoffs and all that good stuff.
Yep.
There's loads of stuff on there anyway. You won't be disappointed. I guarantee it. Why Atlanta is the busiest airport in the world. Oh. I'm obsessed with airports.
Yeah, I know you are. You like airline. Yeah,
I love it. I love aviation. I was in aviation for a long time. I've travelled loads of different airports around the world.
I hate being in an airport though.
Same. It's one of them places now where I go to the airport and I think if I never see another airport again in my life, I'm done. Yeah. But I love the way they're set up, the way they run, the way they operate, and how they can get your bag through one check-in onto a plane to another destination, back out to a carousel where you're waiting for it. Things like that. I'm thinking brilliant. That's just brilliant. And you think what goes into an airport?
Yeah.
The amount of cost and expense and energy and everything that goes into it to run and operate an airport.
Well, we've watched quite a lot of shows, haven't we? They go behind the scenes, so you know what's going on.
But I kind of know why Atlanta's probably the busiest airport in the world.
Is it because it connects the most flights?
Probably. It's
a
a massive
hub,
hub,
isn't it?
It's probably located in a premium spot in the USA, where it can reach pretty much anywhere around the world. They're on a direct flight. Plus, you've got one of the biggest airlines there with United using it as their hub. So it's kind of like all adds up, at the end of the day. But,
it is big. We've been there when we went to Nashville, didn't we?
We have been to Atlanta. Yeah. I've been to Atlanta
a few times.
To get a
train, if you remember.
Yeah, and we had to go to the different
terminals.
Yeah, that's mad.
And there was loads of terminals as well.
There was like 8 or something like that, maybe more.
Yeah, let's get into it. Why Atlanta is the busiest airport in the world.
For almost 25 years now, with just the exception of 2020 because of the pandemic, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta has been the busiest airport in the world. Many people are aware of this fact, but few know how massive the numbers actually are. For comparison, in 2023, Atlanta Hartsfield handled 17 million more passengers than the second busiest Dubai International Airport, and London Heathrow, being the busiest airport in Europe, was about 25 million passengers behind, with Atlanta's airport handling about 105 million passengers. But this isn't the best the airport has ever done. In 2019, Atlanta Hartsfield handled a massive 110 million passengers. That same year, Beijing's airport was number 2, handling 100 million passengers. Now, it is actually very unusual that a city like Atlanta is getting so much air traffic, and this is because of its population. The Atlanta metropolitan area is the 6th most populated in the US, and there are several more cities around the world that are completely developed and are way more populated than Atlanta. Yet, somehow, Atlanta's airport has been busier than all of these cities for years. So, how exactly did Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport become the busiest airport in the world? And how did it remain so for 25 years? But before getting into that, let me introduce you to InVideo AI.
One thing you got to remember as well is with airports, it's not just passengers.
Cargo.
There's all kinds of stuff that goes into private jets as well. That goes into it and all that kind of stuff. But it's an amazing airport. One of the things I seen on when we were in Atlanta, which got me, was when you were at the gate, it told you a countdown time of when you're supposed to depart and how much over or under to departure was. There was a count. I've never seen it at any other airport.
No.
I don't know if it's only Atlanta that do it, but I've never seen it on any other airport.
Yeah.
So, when you pick any of the biggest airports in the world, there is always a considerable number of traffic that are connecting passengers. In simple words, these passengers are people who are just making a stop at an airport to switch flights to fly to another destination. They do this because airlines charge less on connecting flights compared to direct flights, simply because a direct flight is more convenient.
I noticed that. It's another thing. I was
take the piss out of you, really.
So if I wanted to go to Nashville, right? So I found that if we were when we were looking at going to our holiday to the USA, I thought we'll fly to Atlanta, get off the plane in Atlanta, I'll get a car, I'll drive to Nashville, and then I'll drive to wherever we wanted to go, sort of thing. And then I looked at the price. Then I looked at the price to go to Nashville direct, not direct, but via Atlanta. It was like 400 quid cheaper. Yeah, and I was like, what?
But is it possible to go straight from Manchester to Nashville?
There used to be. If there's like a summer flight, I think it comes on. I think it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Right.
So people are willing to pay a premium. Connecting traffic is, most of the times, a significant portion at the busiest airports. But how big this number will be is heavily influenced by the airport's location and how big the network of an airline is from that airport. And because of that, some airports have way more connecting passengers than others. For example, Dubai and London serve a very large number of connecting passengers, and that is due to Emirates and British Airways, which use these airports as their hub and operate a network of more than 100 routes to 70-plus countries. But also, both airports offer a good location for international travelers. Dubai acts as a midpoint and connects Asia and Europe, while London connects Asia and North America and Eastern Europe and North America. Now, a similar thing happens with the Atlanta airport, just on a domestic level. So, just like Dubai, the vast majority of traffic at the Atlanta airport is connecting passengers, which is more than half of the total. Most of these connecting passengers travel between the US or North American cities through Atlanta. This is because Atlanta is situated in the southeastern United States and is positioned within a 2.5-hour flight of 80% of the US population. This makes it an ideal hub for connecting flights across the country. For example, if someone is flying from Miami to Chicago or Dallas to New York, Atlanta serves as the perfect connecting point thanks to its central position. The city's location also makes it an efficient stopover for international flights, particularly those heading to and from Latin America and specifically the Caribbean nations. But while Atlanta's location is good indeed, there's other cities that offer similar location in the US. For example, Dallas and Houston both have excellent locations, but the reason Atlanta still takes the lead is because of Delta Airlines.
As I said United before.
The majority of connecting traffic at Atlanta is brought in by Delta Airlines, which is set to operate 968 daily departures to 215 destinations from the airport in 2025. In terms of passengers carried, Delta is the second largest airline in the world, and its main hub is Atlanta, which is also the largest airline hub in the world by seat capacity. In 2023, Delta approximately connected 51 million passengers at Atlanta, which is literally more than the total passengers of big airports like Seattle, Tacoma, and San Francisco International. But while domestic flights dominate, Delta also plays a significant role in connecting international travel. Delta offers flights to 60 international destinations across 6 continents and acts as a gateway to Latin America and major European cities for the American market. Delta alone accounts for over 70% of the flights at ATL. This dominance amplifies the airport's activity and makes Atlanta a crucial connecting point for domestic and international travelers alike. So, whether you're flying from a small regional airport in the US or connecting from a major European city, chances are good that Atlanta is an option on your route. Moreover, Delta Airlines' partnerships with other global carriers, such as Air France KLM and Virgin Atlantic, strengthen ATL's position as an international hub. These alliances allow passengers to connect seamlessly to destinations around the world. Another reason for Atlanta Hartsfield's huge passenger volume is that it's the only commercial airport for a considerable area around Atlanta's central city. The nearest commercial airport from Hartsfield, Atlanta, is about 75 miles or 120 kilometers away, which makes Hartsfield, Atlanta the primary airport for a large population. This means that all flights to Atlanta are concentrated at this one airport, unlike most other big cities, which are divided by multiple airports. If cities like New York and London had only one airport, they would have significantly more passenger volume than Atlanta. If you were to number it, Atlanta would rank at number 4, with the busiest being London, New York City, and Tokyo. Now, at last, Atlanta's airport infrastructure and size have allowed it to handle all this traffic. The airport has a total of 192 departure and arrival gates. This means that 192 planes could be boarded or deboarded at the same time, which is very impressive. Moreover, the airport's layout has contributed to its success. ATL uses a central terminal system with concourses arranged in a linear fashion, connected by an underground automated people mover known as the plane train. This design minimizes the time passengers spend transitioning between gates, making it one of the most efficient systems in the world. But
It was
even
good,
though
to be
Atlanta
fair. Yeah.
is pretty good at infrastructure, the airport's facilities are constantly being updated to handle increasing demand. In fact, the airport is widening a concourse right now and also has plans for future expansions. So, this confirms that Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport's status
Size
as
of
the
that.
busiest
I know.
airport in the world is no coincidence. Its strategic location, role as Delta Airlines' primary hub, efficient infrastructure, and strong domestic and international connectivity all contribute to its success. As for the future, air travel is constantly evolving, and ATL is well positioned to maintain its leadership. With ongoing investments and a commitment to excellence, Atlanta's airport will likely remain a global aviation powerhouse for years to come.
You're saying
Very
on there as well.
interesting.
Yeah, it is, and it's when sometimes if you fly from say Paris on Air France and you book it through Air France, sometimes you could be on a Delta plane because I think it's Star Alliance, the member of whatever the alliance is, they're in something like that. But it's you've got people like Delta, KLM, like you said, Air France, people like that, Virgin. But it's for me, it's like when I look somewhere to fly, I always look at efficient airports. If I'm going to transit somewhere, so you have an option to transit either in New York, JFK, or transit in Atlanta, I choose Atlanta
Yeah.
all the time, purely because I've been there and I know how efficient it is. We never had an issue at Atlanta.
No.
It was dead easy, seamless when we went out, seamless when we came back.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think that's what when you're travelling, the last thing you want is any kind of stress of having to know. You come to London, for example. I've looked at flights transiting through London, and you go, you fly into Heathrow, but then you fly out of Gatwick, and I'm like, no, that's just too confusing.
Yeah.
It's too. I don't want to be transiting different airports
Yeah.
and getting on a truck. Well, there's a bus that goes from there, or a train that goes from there. So I'm not asked. It's too far.
Yeah.
It's
They're
not.
not even close to each other.
Not really. They're close enough. There's a train that runs. I think it's called the Heathrow Express, and it runs sort of like from Gatwick to somewhere else, and then Heathrow.
Yeah, but it's still
but
like
it's still ball
busy
ache.
traffic and
But you still have to wait for your bag,
On
and then
the
you got to get
train.
your bag from Heathrow, get on the train with your bag, and then go to Gatwick, and then get off the train, check in again, and then get on your flight and then go from there. And I'm like, it's just too much dicking about that.
Yeah.
I want to go in, bag straight through. I mean, last time we had to get our bag, didn't we? We went and we had to take it to a zone, and the guy said to me, as I walked up with it, the guy said to me, are you going Nashville? I went, yeah. And I'm like, how would he know? Because there was nothing on my bag. I mean, I had my bag tag on, but it wasn't facing him.
Yeah.
And he went this way. And I put it back in a bag hold sort of thing. Not when I check in, I just dropped it.
Yeah.
And then we carried on walking, if you remember.
Yeah.
But it just worked. It was seamless.
I remember when I put my bag down, I was like, am I meant to do this? Like, am I going to not see this bag ever
Yeah.
again?
Well, that's what I thought as well. I'm looking, I'm thinking, it doesn't seem right. And that guy was like, it's fine. He was like, he gave us that. If you remember, the guy was stood there.
Yeah.
He was all right. He was quite helpful. But you think the amount of airports I've been to and know how systems work, but it's just, it must be a new thing for me. I've never seen it before. It's like I
Yeah.
said, the countdown on the clock as well. I've never seen that anywhere
Yeah.
before. And it was like, sort of 3 minutes to departure. Sure enough, 2 minutes before you're backing out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's incredible, this. It
Yeah,
was,
I don't know how I didn't realise that, like how like London and New York have like two airports. Like that's also a reason why it's the busiest, because it's
well,
split into two.
London has 3.
Well, City of London, but who uses that?
It's Stansted, yeah, Stansted,
Heathrow, Gatwick, Stansted.
Yeah, but then you've got New York. You've got quite a few in New York. You've got JFK. You've got LaGuardia. You've got Newark, which is just around
Yeah.
the corner. I know it's not in New York City, but it's
Yeah.
in New York State, but it's in New Jersey, but it's right on the border.
Yeah. I think it's easier if you go into New York to go to
Newark.
Newark.
Yeah, I think so. I always said that. It's flying to Newark. It was a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I just think, like I say, if you transit anywhere in the USA, go through Atlanta. It's just seamless.
Yeah.
Just never had an issue. So that's where I picked up the wrong bag, though. What I was like, my bag just didn't seem right, and I checked the logo thing on it. It was exactly the same bag as mine, but a little bit smaller. I just didn't see him, so I had to go back in and take it back, put it back down,
Some guy
and get
waiting
mine.
for his bag.
Yeah, just one guy stood there like in a wet raincoat, just like staring at me. Yeah. Anyway, enjoyed that. Good
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers,
Bye.
cheers.